hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki, and on Street Talk, what we do, we talk about the things that's happening here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Now, joining me tonight to discuss some things is Dr. Willie Davids, Baba
Kubwa.
all around the African world and Resource Center.
Museum
LCC.
and Resource Center.
Oh, the Museum and Resource Center.
It's LLC.
Oh, okay. We got a lot to try to talk about, but first of all, we're going to talk about the Million Man March.
Okay.
I know it, was it called the Million Man March this year?
It was called the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March.
Okay, because
the 20th anniversary.
Okay, because I don't know whether my brother went this year, but I didn't make it this year. I had a relative really ill in Ohio, and the morning I was supposed to left, I supposed to went by, and I just didn't make it. So tell me some of the things that this year. I know it's 20 years later. I know the last 20 years ago, it was a thing of trying to get our people, trying to get them, our men, trying to get them, most of them on the right track. We did that, but seemed like in the last, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they got off the track. Now, tell me about this Million Man March.
Well, I don't know if I agree that they got off track.
Okay.
I agree that, as they say, progress is not always linear. Sometimes you got to fill in the size, get a little fatter to move on.
All right.
And I think over the past 5 or 6 years, especially after Barack Obama became elected, that has more shadowed the scene. But we see other activities. We see a lot more economic development. We see the young rappers, even though I don't necessarily like the words in their song, we see them taking over their businesses.
Okay.
We're seeing more people in corporate America.
Okay.
At the same time, we're also seeing an increase in poverty, due to a downgrade in terms of the economy. And now the economy is back up again, so hopefully we'll start seeing that translate. From the trickle-down theory, mostly, that always we're the last to benefit from anything that changes.
Yeah.
So if that trickle-down impact still goes, we should be the recipient, of a number of activities. I'm seeing things like Black Matter, Black Lives Matters beginning to come around, and that was especially talked a lot about at the 20th anniversary of
Okay.
the Million Man March.
Okay.
So I see that, and that's kind of making people a little bit more aware of things that are happening, especially with black folks. And a number of groups are still surviving. The National Association of Black Social Workers, the National Association of Black Psychologists, the National Black United Front.
Okay.
I've seen just over the revival, the African Heritage Studies Association has just been revived and have a good website too. So there's a lot of pluses and some minuses too. So it's kind of a mixed bag. And so I tend to be around those groups and people that are kind of more positive a lot, because I travel a lot. And then in Lansing, we have a groups too, and then I'm also at with the museum and Shabazz Academy. So I'm always kind of around some kind of positive action, So, but it's been good to me. And Man March kind of the anniversary, the 20th anniversary, looked at some of the other issues that were bothering us back 20 years ago.
Okay.
1995.
Okay. What? Just a few of the issues that still keeping us bogged down. I'll use the word bogged down. Some of the main
poverty. Poverty is always a issue. Lack of funds to develop businesses. For example, we still, in terms of businesses, when we need monies to keep business, we don't always get what we need. It's interesting. The startup for black businesses is higher than white businesses.
Okay.
It's just we tend to fail a little bit more because we have less resources to do it. So the spirit of entrepreneurism is still there. Businesses are small. We don't have but we're starting to get the Magic Johnsons and the theaters and things that they're doing. We still got issues of police brutality. Yeah. We also have issues of black on black crime. They're killing each other too. But people need to look at that in context. Who kills most white people? White people. Who kill most Asian people? Asian people. So it's not unusual that black people kill black people. Though it's higher than it needs to be. Now.
Much higher.
It's higher than it needs to be. But so those issues are plaguing. Issues like prenatal care. Are still issues out there. Dealing with some of the diseases we tend to be less aware. For example, there's a cure for hepatitis C, which impacts black men especially more than almost any other group, but people aren't aware that the cure is there.
Right.
And then the cure is so expensive, if you are aware, we don't have the funds or lack of insurance. And that's another issue, a lack of insurance, which has been, a lot of it has been addressed by the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare, but it still is trickling down and more. So health care is still an issue. Law enforcement is still an issue. Crime, black on black crime still issues. And so these issues still exist. Adoption issues. For example, the Million Man March, people don't realize it. The president of Black Social Workers made an appeal for black adoptions, and most black kids don't get adopted. There were 25,000 more black adoptions after the Million Man March.
It was?
Yeah, but people never mentioned that at all. 25,000 more black adoptions.
Because
black kids being adopted.
I read the paper almost every day and listen to news.
Everything is always what we do is in the news. What the news does is accentuate the negative. Or bring up, I think, false negative, because there were a lot of positive things. For me, I actually fasted 2 days before and 2 days afterwards, so I was really kind of on a spiritual high. And the idea of all these men getting together, looking at all these common issues and addressing, the education, joblessness, and actually after that, all these committees were were established. Million Man March committees in almost every city.
Okay.
Most of the time it was by the Muslim group
Oh, right.
that were in the city. So Detroit was a much broader based one than
Okay.
that. I used to go to some of their meetings.
Okay.
And it also spawned the Million Women March, which was in 1997.
Right, yeah, I went to
Then
that one.
Then the Million Family March,
Yep.
which was in 2000.
Yep.
And all of those addressed, issues and became broader as they brought in more people. It wasn't just black people.
Right, right.
And especially this last march was there were people from the looking at issues of joblessness, the gay lesbian movement,
Okay.
women issues, Black Lives Matters, took a huge chunk of the time and the emphasis. And also, too, the idea was to create a series of ministries.
Okay.
Like a Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, and establish those in different areas and different cities. So it's like a proactive way of carrying the message from the march, into the public. And I'm especially interested in the area of education.
Right, yeah, yeah. We see a lot of, I'm generalizing, we see a lot of our people going on and getting education, but we see a lot of them who are not. Lots of our young people are just trying to get, now it's, you can drop out of school at 16, trying to get to 16, it could be different where you live. I know I live on Willow Street, and I can be in my yard and instead of seeing school days, I instead see young people walking the streets. They're not 18 where they can get a job, but they just walk in the streets.
Well, there was a time where you couldn't do that. If you was walking the streets, you had to hide and walk the streets because they'd catch you and put you in juvenile home or make you go to school or whatever. But that system is broken down. I mean, I think there's a lot more permissiveness, with children. Many of the parents are unable to manage them. There's been a change in terms of dealing with issues like corporal punishment. I mean, a number of things are out there. There are no more innocent children anymore. The youngest child, 4 or 5, knows all the areas of sexual activity at 4 and 5. I mean, you could fool us when we were kids. I actually thought babies, when I was about 10 or 11, that babies came with storks.
Yeah, hey.
I'm looking for the bag, so I mean, but these kids now have no illusions about the fantasies that we had when we were children. So it's a different set of children, and I don't know if the system has caught up in how to deal with them. If they have ways to deal with, for example, the truancy. I see that. Where is it that? I see the Lansing School District is going back to having truant officers. I think,
Okay.
So we're looking at Shabazz at like a suspension alternative programs, because if they're out of school, if you kick them out and they're not learning while they're out of school, so what can you do to keep them in school, in the building? What types of assignments and other activities can be developed to where they can still keep getting their education? So, so we're in the process, I think, nationally, of trying to find ways to deal with, I guess I would call the new child. So what are some strategies and ways we're going to do that? The black social workers are going to be linking with Shabazz to kind of offer, to help out with dealing with some of the issues that the children deal with. So, so there's a number of of attempts to try to look at it. And sadly, as you see in cities like Detroit and other cities, a lot of strategies that they've been using are not working. So they're trying different strategies. So hopefully we'll hit on one that works. Yeah.
But meantime, you know, I'm just saying for me, I believe, you can tell me if I'm wrong or whatever, but I believe in the next, maybe 5, 7, or maybe 10 years, that you go and put an application, it ain't gonna even be what high school. It's gonna be what maybe trade or university or whatever you finish. What do you think about that?
I think definitely it's gonna be, you're gonna need some type of certification, either in a trade or a business or college degree, associate degree, certificate in technology and those kind of things. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to work with at Lansing Community College to get more involved with programs like LSAMP, which is a program for minorities in the STEM areas, in terms of science. And so I'm trying to work to see if we can get more young, black men involved in it there. So, as well as trying to help improve their grades. And so and those are the things that why the community college is so important. Because you can get the certificates and the trades. You can get the certificates or diplomas. So it runs the panel. So the community college has become the fulcrum of the whole education system. So the more we can get kids into the community colleges, the much better they'll be prepared. In fact, that's one of the linchpins of President Obama's education program is the community college. And we're looking at other issues too, like the health areas too, which colleges can do, like community health workers. People don't realize that the president wants to train 5. I mean, just think of this: if 30 more million people are going to come into the healthcare system, that's probably 10 million more jobs. And the base of the community of the center is the community health worker. So we should be training more community health workers. They don't have to be doctors or nurses, but they can help work with people, go into the communities, bring them into the system. And his plan is to hire 5 million more train 5 million community health workers, but only 1 million for the U.S. The other 4 million to train abroad. So in other words, I tell people, don't just think about working here. When you go on the telephone, you get people from Bangladesh and everybody else. So why aren't we looking to be work as the rest of the world developing? We should be part of that development. So we should be training people internationally. And they do have, I think, they have a international baccalaureate program at Eastern School, and then there are some others. And so my idea is think globally, act locally. I didn't make that up. Somebody else came up with that. So I'm just copying it. So
you speaking about Obama, he's done so many things, and we still when I'll say most people look at the thing and they try to he ain't done this, this percentage is down, but I'm just me, that's the way I'm looking at it. But he's done a lot of things. He's done some great things, and maybe, 10, 15 years after he's out of office, maybe some of these people who claims he haven't done this, and he didn't do this, and blah, 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 maybe they can change their mind about the thing.
I don't think they will. I think a lot of them. I mean, if they're not seeing what he's doing now, look at it positively. What's going to change their mind? I think a lot of people just really don't want to see him succeed, and I think race is one of the issues.
Yeah.
And I think a second issue is that Republicans also don't want Democrats to succeed.
Right.
So it's a mixture of different ways. I mean, they talked about President Bush.
Yeah.
You know, Democrats talked about President Bush. You know, so when you're in that office, you have to have a thick skin. President Obama did a speech at the University of Michigan where he talked about having a thick skin, and he knows that being, especially the first black person in that role, his skin gonna have to be very thick, because you know I mean, we've seen some instances of racism, blatant racism that we didn't even think people thought about no more. You know, and making all kind of innuendos.
Yeah.
And even prominent people who you would think would be.
Much,
you know, why would we get past that? But it almost, in some ways, we now know what's out there. We know that there's still a lot of things that so if we thought that things had really mellowed down, we got a rude awakening.
Yeah, and you know, one of my thoughts is that a lot of people thought that you know, when he was elected, oh well, we passed some of this stuff, but I was looking at a thing 5 or 6, 7 years ago. They said that before he was elected, I don't know how they predicted all that, but they were saying racism was 47%. They said after he was elected, racism jumped up to 54%.
I can believe that. Yeah, that's all. 160, 175. But maybe that's a testimony to maybe there is some hope.
Well,
you know, that it only jumped. Well, I mean, we knew it was going to jump. I mean, we saw that during the election.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, before he got elected the first time, we saw a lot of those instances, and then as a nation, we were able to cross that barrier. I mean, it's amazing, you know, as a nation, when he's elected the first time, most of us didn't think he had a chance.
I know I didn't. I was one of those people who said that, who said years and years ago that I wouldn't be able to see a black president. You know, I mean,
in our lifetime.
Yeah, anyway. No way I'd be able to be here. And we've seen a black president. And as you were saying, a lot of people, they just want to see him fail. You know, I mean, they're doing everything and saying everything, and it's, you know, and it's like you said, that's just pure racism. You know, I mean, if a and I'm like this, you know, from the political all the way down to baseball, football, basketball, football. If you're not doing the job, then hey, you know, I don't care what color you is, you know, I'm gonna say you ain't doing the job, you know. But we got a lot of people in this country who, no matter what the man does, oh no, he ain't doing this, he ain't doing this.
Well, the reason why I don't think he can fail, even though, you know, there are setbacks, is that he represents not just black people. He represents white people. His mother is white. He represents Asian people. He was raised in Indonesia and Hawaii. His middle name is actually a Muslim middle
right.
name, so Islam is part of part of what he represents. So if he fails, we fail,
Right.
because there's no other person that can pull together all of these various different
Right.
groups,
Yeah.
all in one
Right,
person.
right.
So he's kind of like the conglomerate of what, to quote, American creed
Right.
is, that all of us can see, because in him you get successes
Right.
throughout. So even though that's I mean, they talked about Jesus,
Oh yeah.
and look at Christianity now.
Oh yeah. Let's don't go into that, because man, I'm gonna tell you. I was talking to a brother today, and you know, we talked about, you know, 60 years ago and or more, where we didn't only go to black churches, you know, we went to black churches and for business, but the black church was also where we went when we had to take care of something in the neighborhood and then out of the neighborhood and all of that. The black church was the only place where we could go and have a little peace, you know, even though they bombed a lot of churches and everything, you know. But at least we could go to church and go to churches and discuss things at the churches. And I was telling him that now every church got their thing, you know. Don't go to this church, and we see the ministers riding around in 2 or 3 different cars and 2 or 3 different suits on in a day. I mean, it's like, I mean, what? It's, you know, it's one of the reasons that we can see our young people out here acting the way and doing some of the things, is because they look at the ministers, and you know, they don't represent. To me, they don't represent what they, I said, should be representing. You know.
Well, they probably represent, at least on Sunday, what it is that they're dealing with. I don't know, you know, how you might look at them away from the church, but I'm sure on Sunday they're preaching the gospel and doing those kinds of things too. I have in the past wondered, you know, about how preachers, you know, ministers should look, and I've kind of, you know, looked at what is the message that they are giving. What are they telling people? Are they organizing? The church, you know, are they having meetings in the church to look at the issues that deal with the day? You know, are they providing educational funding or tutoring? You know, are they helping to provide jobs and those kinds of things? Are they also attending to the spiritual needs too of people? And you find different combinations in each one. And so, and you judge a book, you know, by, I don't know, you can't judge it by its cover, you judge it by its words.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you're too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the power. And I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.